trying to have a conversation with you. I'm trying to have a conversation with you. Are you listening? Do you hear me? 'Cause I'm trying to have a conversation with you.
Welcome to I'm Trying to Have a Conversation with You, a Street Tales Network podcast with two sisters who never seem to be done talking. I'm Kasha.
And I'm Monique.
Why aren't you
Monique.
ever done talking, Monique?
I have so many things to tell you, that's why. So many things. Hence the conversation about my gray hair before we came on the air.
Yeah, I was like trying to keep my laughter in order before you.
For you
How
guys,
does your gray
you
hair
see,
do, Monique?
I have a headband on, as you can see, because I need to go see my hairdresser. And I have gray hair. I don't have a problem with my gray hair, other than my gray hair thinks that it should style like this.
What happens when you comb it?
If I comb it down, it goes.
I don't know why that tickles me so much.
So no matter what style I put it in, it thinks the style is stand up. It's obnoxious. So I dye it so it will simply lay down and be like a normal piece of hair instead of being like, oh, she brushed us, guys. You know what? We're back in a different position.
In a different position.
I mean, it's
Oh my
wild.
God. You are so silly.
Oh, the other thing about my hair, you'll notice this right here.
Yeah, what's that?
This is eggshells and confetti, because today at my job, because we're close to Easter, they always declare one Friday is an egg Friday. And when they declare it as an egg Friday, everybody brings the little confetti Easter eggs. And it becomes the kids are teaching kids, because these teachers turn into children. And they stalk you until they can crush the egg in their hands and then throw all the confetti at you. My hair being curly, make sure that it grabs all the confetti and keeps it. I'm going to hang on to all the confetti pieces, thank you, and the eggshell. So I tried as best as I could to clean it out before we started recording. But as you can see, there's quite a bit that is still there. So I will be washing my hair to get that out tonight, so that I don't look like a frosted cupcake with sprinkles.
I'm glad you didn't wash your hair yesterday and have to deal with that today.
Oh, I would have fought somebody. I'm not gonna lie.
Facts.
I would have fought somebody. So, and I mean, it's all like, there's few teachers that are like, hey, I want to opt out. Everybody knows, don't get those teachers. But if you don't opt out, it is game on. It's like I walked into the office, our data processing lady smashed an egg into my head and pushed me out of the office, because the rule is you're not supposed to do it inside. So she had to push me outside so I didn't drop confetti all over the office. They got me. I'm standing there talking to somebody. They come over, crack the egg all into my hair. I mean, it's just, and I got hit like, I don't know, like 8 times today. 8 times. The kids are like, ah! The kids are loving it. They think we're wild. So
love days like that.
Yeah, it was a good day. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
I had good fun with it.
Did you wish you opt out of it?
No, I didn't wish that. I wished I would have wore a hat. That I do wish. You live and learn, though. You know, that's a life lesson. Next year, I will put my hair in a hat so that this does not happen. Yeah.
Facts.
I learned.
Very smart. Very smart.
But it was a good time. Before we jump into the episode, I'd like to take a moment to brag on Arctic Wolf and tell you. No, I want to brag on him. He did something amazing.
Oh, brag. I thought you said rag on him. I was like, why are you ragging on him? Okay, brag. Let's brag.
On Arctic Wolf plays Little League Baseball.
Yeah.
And he had a game last night. And during his game, and I will tell you guys before I did not realize the gravity of what happened until way later on. So He plays shortstop because he loves
Mhm.
shortstop, and pop fly kid hits a pretty solid pop fly. It's coming
Mhm.
right down to him, and I'm thinking, "Oh, baby, catch the ball, catch the ball, catch the ball." So he catches. I'm super excited that he caught the pop fly and held it. I'm going
Yeah.
crazy. Then I see the player that was from second base doesn't tag up. He's coming, has enough wherewithal to tag him out. So he tags out second base, running to third. Third base had already come off also and was headed home. His
Mhm.
coach is yelling, "Tag the bag, tag the bag." He registers, tags the bag. 3 outs, triple play, inning over just like that.
Dang. That's what I'm talking about.
I realized how incredible it was when we reached out to his coach from previous years, who he's coaching this year, but he's hurt. Not hurt, he had surgery. So he was not at the game last night, but he's going to be returning later on. And he sends
Mhm.
me this. And so I had to read this to you. It says an unassisted triple play by an 8-year-old is exceptionally rare,
Yep.
rarer than in MLB, where it has only happened 15 times. Since the beginning of
Amen.
Major League Baseball, it's only happened 15 times. It
That's
requires
crazy.
extreme luck, a very specific situation where they have no outs, you have runners on 2 bases, and a pro level of alertness by the young player to catch the pop fly, tag the runner, and then step on the base.
I totally could see that he definitely has, like, that understanding of the game. I've noticed that about him even, like, young, so I'm really
Yeah,
proud of him.
I'm super proud of our
You
boy.
better do it, boy. You better do
Get
it.
it, Arctic
That
Wolf.
Yeah, because that's, like, unheard of.
Yeah,
Unassisted of all things, like,
um,
what?
he literally got all 3 outs by
I know
himself.
that's right.
So, I had to take a mom brag for a minute. I'm done.
For sure. As you should. As you should. So, I wonder, like,
Yes?
yeah, I guess that's kinda on brand. It's kinda on brand for today. Do
Really?
you know what we're gonna talk about?
I think it's health, but I don't know where we're going with
Look
it.
at
So
look
I'm
at you
excited
using
to
them rememberings.
the remembrance. Could you know
The
that's a
rememberings.
I don't have a lot of rememberings.
Yeah, that was a good remembering. It definitely is about health today.
I don't know what
So,
we're
I
gonna
wanna
talk about though.
yeah, I mean, I wanna hit it at a few angles. So, I wanna
Okay.
start off, um, what is health to you?
To me, there's health has a couple different components. I
Mhm,
think health is a combination of what you put into your body,
mhm,
food and drink, any kind of drugs, alcohol. And when I say drugs, I don't mean illicit drugs. I mean,
mhm,
even over the counter, prescriptions from your doctors, those things all together, alcohol and your water intake. I think that's all the nutrition component. Then I
mhm,
think there's a component when it comes to exercise. And I think that
mhm,
has 3 branches as well, in my opinion. I think there's strength, I think there's flexibility, and I think there is cardiovascular health. So I think you have to work on all 3 simultaneously at all times in order to be healthy. I don't
mhm,
know that I don't believe there's like, when I say health, I wouldn't, some people put a number in weight as to what's healthy.
mm,
I don't believe
mhm,
in that because I've seen some really skinny people who are super unhealthy, unable to eat well or
mhm,
exercise well. So
mhm.
to me, health is two-pronged, and then they have branches off of each one of those that are 3 to 4 different branches that are all encompass health.
Right. I would agree with that. Attached to the physical health, I would say mobility is another aspect because
Mhm.
sometimes, and I've been noticing, I've been getting into my fitness lately, and people have talked about like what sometimes we do get into the strength exercises, we're cardio, we're doing all that, and not necessarily thinking about mobility, which is really important as you get older. Um,
100%.
I'll tell you that when I first said that I was going to, be talking about this, I felt not qualified to discuss it because I was like, oh, well, I'm not at my goal weight. You know what I'm saying? Like, who am I to be sitting here chit chatting about health? But as I got into this and started thinking about it, thinking about my own goals, I started thinking, like, no, I absolutely can discuss this. I think that definitely nutrition is a part of that. And I feel like, and we're going to get into this a little later, but nutrition is really loaded because everybody has their own beliefs about it. Like
Mm-hmm.
if you go look up any kind of like weight loss diet or anything, like when it comes to a healthy diet, you're going to see so many different opinions that it's going to make your head spin.
Yep.
So I think for me, health is something that where your body is at its optimum level, as much as you possibly can. Like certain things, your mobility might um keep you from being able to do certain exercises and do things like that. But if you can do it, I think you should do it.
Yes.
Um, and I think that, when it comes to nutrition, you should always try for the best option. Now, do I do that every day? I mean, obviously not. But
So
it's
dumb.
something that I'm definitely striving for. And like right now is springtime, which I respect as my new year.
New Year.
And I definitely feel like I could see how I'm like the direction I want to go is something that's attainable for me. And it's something that I honestly feel like it's already worked before. And I remember sometimes other people's opinions started to get me off track on those things. And now I'm like, no, you were right. Your body was at its best when you did this. So
Right.
neither here nor there. So we talked about like the physical. You just mentioned that physical health is a part of being healthy. And I'm do I want to talk about this now? I just kind of saw something last night that was talking about body positivity.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like on the surface, I do understand body positivity. Like I feel like you should absolutely love your body, no matter
Yes.
what it's looking like. Because if you don't, I don't think you can really take care of it. Um, but I do have, and I know people are gonna come for me. I do think that if you can do it, you should be doing things to improve your physical health, whether it's, nutrition wise, whether it's exercise wise. I do think that you should be trying and striving to be at your optimum level. Physical health doesn't always mean that you are looking like someone else. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't always mean that, but it means that you're doing the best that you can with your own eating habits and your own workout patterns. And you have to like be honest with yourself, because I think that's something that I'm facing right now is like the honesty of, did I try my best and did I schedule myself enough to be able to do this on the times that I swear I don't have time to be working out or planning meals, but I had time to scroll TikTok. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So was I using my time wisely?
Right.
Um I also want to add that I think health, and I mean, it encompasses your mental and emotional health.
I can agree.
So I think that mentally and emotionally, that those things do need to be addressed. And sometimes those are underlying reasons of why your physical health is not where it needs to be.
For sure.
Um, and I really like, I feel for people like that. That's why I'm like, I definitely don't even judge myself for the things and where I am now. I'm like, oh, this is not my optimum level. But I really feel for people who have been through things that have
Yeah.
brought them to the point where they don't care for themselves in that way. So, with that being said, what does health look like?
As a physical picture.
It could be a physical picture, but I want to go a little deeper in that. So, we could start with
Well,
physical.
I want to build on, like, I will say to you, I did the classic thing that most people do when you think about health. It defaults to your physical body, your nutrition, those kind of things. But I fully agree with you that mental health, emotional health is a huge piece to that, because for people who do struggle with their emotions or struggle with their mental health, in many cases, their food, their intake, things like that are the only things they can control. And a lot of times they
Hmm.
don't always make the best decisions. So I think I agree with you that I do feel sorry for people sometimes that have struggles like that, and they don't know how to exactly combat them, and it does manifest in their physical well-being. To say what
Hmm.
health looks like, I think that health looks like you being able to do things that you want to do and that you um, need to do, because there are
Mhm.
many things that we need to do. If you have children, you need to be able to care for your children. That might mean at this stage of the game, you need to be able to pick them up. You need to um, be able to keep up with them because now they're getting a little bit older in the respect of what are the things that they need to do. You need to be able to spend time with them. Or maybe some people don't have kids, but they have animals, they have dogs. You need to be able
Mhm.
to walk your dog. You need to be able
That's
to
true.
um, take care, get up in the morning and be able to carry your own weight, carry your own body to what it is that you need to do. So I think that to me, health looks like a person that is, I think mobility is one thing, mobile enough to do the things they want and need to do. And
Mhm.
while at the same time, when we're talking about mental health, while still feeling content with themselves. I say content because I don't think sometimes people strive for this unrealistic value of being, I don't mean happiness as being an unrealistic thing, but I think people think that we live in happiness all the time. And that's not where people live. You have to be content with where you are in life, and content is not a bad thing. I think you
Yeah.
need to be content with your children, content with your husband, content or your wife, content with your relationship, content with your job. You don't have to be, oh my gosh, I get to go to work today. Like otherwise they wouldn't call it
Mm.
work. But I think you do have to.
I feel like
They
that about
would.
my job.
But I think you do have to like what you do so that even
Yeah.
on the hard days, you come
Yeah.
home and you're like, I still like this job. You need to
Yeah.
be content. That's what to me
Yeah.
content is.
Yeah.
So health means being able to do the things you need to do and to do the things that you want to do at whatever stage in life you happen to be at. If you're a retiree, you need to be able to get up and move about your house and maybe go for a walk because it's best for your body. You need
Mhm.
to be able to cook yourself meals because you're not suffering from depression or anxiety. Those are the things, that's what healthy looks like to me, is a person that is doing what they need to do for themselves, doing some of the things that they want to do, and being content in their life as to where they are at the time.
Yeah. I definitely agree with that. I think that they are dependent on each other. So having like mental health and having that physical health, um, it kind of depends on each other. And I wouldn't say that you can do one without the other because I think that when your mental health is not right, you could be working out. But I do see, and this is something I've noticed, I kind of got more into this one when I was researching for this. I notice people who push themselves to another extreme. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I don't want to be fat. I don't want to be fat. And so they go to another extreme. And there's one thing where it comes to people have talked about over the years, anorexia and bulimia, where people were not intaking enough calories or expelling those calories because they're like, I don't want to gain this certain amount of weight. They have body dysmorphia in a way where they're just looking at themselves and they see a lot more weight than really is there. I think I have the opposite of that, by the way, and I'm not being joking. I always be feeling like I'm skinnier than I am. And then I see a picture and I say, I know you lying. I know you lying.
You're so dumb.
I be like, I do not feel that big, but I am. Um,
You're silly.
but yeah, I think that those extremes are one thing. There also are people who are like gym bros and gals who are another extreme. Like sometimes I'm like looking at these people who are like, oh yeah, I'm so ripped and I don't, you don't see anything, no body fat. And then they're eating like really like you're like, is that even nutritious, to be eating
Right.
that like that? I don't understand the concept. And I know coming from a plus size lady, like why do they need to eat chicken with no seasoning? What's the
Bro,
thing about that? That
bro,
kills me.
I
Oh,
can't.
just chicken breast, and it's like not a nothing. I get where you're
No.
like, okay, you need to watch your salt intake and everything like that, but you can't use a
Let's
herb.
throw a herb in there or something. Come
Sprinkle
on.
something on that. That chicken look
Oh,
naked.
put some dried oregano in there.
Something.
Some
Put something
thyme
on
or
that.
something.
Something.
Do a dry
Sometimes.
rub. Like
Something. I'm like,
So,
that ain't no calories like that. Come on now.
nah, come on.
But I
Come on.
I think those extremes can cause you to be unhealthy as well. Like even in the other extreme, like I don't want to be fat so bad that I'll go to the point where I won't be eating and properly and intaking nutrients.
Right.
So that could be loaded. But I also think with mental health and emotional health that you have to address what's going on. And you have to address, why am I resistant to caring for my body? Why am I
Yeah.
resistant to eating in a nutritious way? Why am I resistant to moving my body to the best of its ability? And
Right.
and I think I saw something a while back that said, people who are consistent walkers sometimes are better than people who end up lifting weights and running, because
For
it's
sure.
consistent, and it's actually not putting so much impact on your body. So your body's able to do it. Like, at the very least, I could walk. I could do these other things, but at the very least I could walk. So I think those things need to be addressed. What
Real
does
quick, I will say, I read something recently that says consistency beats intensity over and over.
mm-hmm. And that's something, like, right now I'm kind of in my reset. I've been fasting for a little bit this week, and I do eat at
Proud
night.
of you.
Um, Thank you. And it's interesting because it's not actually less of a fast for health than
Hmm.
anything, but I
Right.
do notice some changes in my body. Like, I thought I would be starving. Like, I am hungry right now, but I'm on the tail end of my 24 hours. So, but I thought I would be starving. But it's like I literally still have energy. I'm still moving and shaking. I'm like, I got clarity. Actually, the Wall Street has slowed down just a little bit. Um, so I think that, like, just connecting the fact to that mental aspect, going back to that,
Hmm.
is really important. I think that sometimes people don't, it's not just like how it's connected to your physical health. It really
Right.
is the quality of life. I
For
think
sure.
that sometimes there's really, like, a huge push to have this hustle culture, this busy culture, this just the culture of, like, I have to just keep doing things until I can't think
The,
anymore. Um, I'm really trying to rail against that. I do have a lot on my plate. I have quite a bit of things that, like, I get pulled in all these directions, but I'm trying to rail against that whole, like, oh my gosh, like, constant movement. I think that's something that people don't want to address, and sometimes it becomes like a bigger issue.
you
Like,
don't want to do the busy flex, you mean?
I know that that's what we say. I ain't want to even put it out there, but that's the busy
That's
flex.
what it is.
The people who be on the busy flex, like, oh my gosh, I have to do this and that and this and
So
that
many
and this and that.
things.
And you're like, babe, you need to relax. And why are
Yeah.
you not relaxing?
Right.
Why
That's
is
not a
relaxing against the law for you?
that's not a win. It's not.
Mm-mm, it's not. So I think that those are the things, and it's something for me. And I know we'll get into this in another time, but for me, my mental health laid the groundwork for me to be able to do other things, to be able to kind of think about my health in a different way.
Right.
So with that being said, we could do that all day.
All day.
So diet. We kind of talked about the chicken with them naked chickens.
Ugh.
Diet. Is there a specific diet that someone should have who is healthy?
I'd like to do a public service announcement very quickly. Please stop serving chicken and broccoli with brown rice and no seasoning. That is really unheard of. It's not healthy. Please chop up an herb. Chop up. You don't
Please.
have to put salt. Put some black pepper
You
on
don't have to
it.
put
Um,
a
Try some
parsley.
onion powder. You don't have to do onion
Oh,
salt. Try
that's
some garlic
good.
powder. But this is a
Yeah.
public service announcement. The chickens are getting really angry that you're presenting them that way, and
Right.
it's disrespectful. And I need y'all to stop. I need y'all to stop doing it. So,
Would hurt my feelings if I gave my life for somebody to eat and be
right,
nourished, just for them not to throw not one speck of
nothing.
not a nothing,
Just chicken on a plate.
not a sage.
Yeah.
Not
I
not
mean,
a thyme,
something.
Italian
Can we
seasoning,
can
nothing.
we get the skillet hot and at least get it like seared on
Yeah.
each side? Do something like it.
Mm-mm.
That. Just
Them chickens be
stop.
scary looking. I'd be like,
That's what I'm
"I think
saying.
that chicken is still living, sir."
Right. It looks like it's still not cooked, sir.
Mm-mm.
So, public service announcement done. I apologize. Um, so what is a healthy diet, you were asking, right?
Yeah.
I will say balance. Balance is key for me. I do not like any diet that eliminates anything.
Yeah.
I remember when everybody was keto, and I think a lot of people still are keto, or
They done
oh, I
fell
don't
off,
eat
girl.
any carbs. Um, these caveman diets where you just eat meat. I mean, like any diet that eliminates, even to say like, don't eat any sugars, because the reality is, as human beings, we like to indulge. But do you have to indulge every day, all the time? No. But if you indulge once every 2 weeks, it's
Mhm.
okay. Your body can recover from that. So
Yeah.
anything in moderation, even to include if you like to have a glass of wine, or you like to drink beer, or you like to have a scotch or a whiskey, because my sister happens to be an old man wrapped in a female body, and that's what she likes to drink. Oh,
Tennessee whiskey.
yeah, with a smoking jacket on, y'all. It's ridiculous. What is
Move
happening?
on.
Anyways, my bad. Excuse
I
me.
got choked up with that nonsense.
I did. So, but I think that a diet that is successful is a diet that allows you to eat a plethora of things in moderation. I also
Mhm.
think you have to get out of your own way. I Another PSA announcement, I got to get on my soapbox. Grown-ups, stop telling me how you don't eat vegetables. Stop telling me how you don't like this thing you should eat vegetables, fruits, and they should be of all different colors. I
Mhm.
can get behind the fact there might be one or two that you don't like. I can get behind that. But telling me you don't eat any vegetables, stop. You're grown. You're
Yeah.
big. Let's stop. Okay? Our taste buds grow and develop with age. You should be trying stuff at all times to see if it's something that now at this point in your life, maybe you do like. And in many cases, your body might need.
Mm.
So your diet should consist of being open to trying new foods, trying things that haven't been in your diet before, and integrating your diet so that it is a mix of things. That's why for years we've had the triangle for nutrition. Now I think they do plates now. I don't know. But the whole idea behind that thing is balance. You eat
Yeah.
rice, you eat proteins, you eat vegetables, you eat fruits. You can take in even cakes and cookies, but no, your dinner should not be, oh, we had cake for dinner last night. Stop. Stop it. You can't, and
Or
shame on
icing.
us. Or icing. Wait a minute. I'm,
Mhm.
they
Mhm.
just eat icing?
Yeah, there are adults who eat icing for dinner.
Now
Yeah, I was like, "Huh?"
you're just trying to make me mad now, Kasha, so I'm not
No,
getting
I'm
sucked into
not,
this.
baby. No, I'm not. I heard it a 1 to 2, maybe a 3rd time, but I know 2 that they're like, "Oh, yeah, girl, I love me icing," which I'm not an icing person, so I don't really connect to that. I'm like, "It's just too sweet." I don't like too
Too
sweet
sweet.
anything.
No,
Yeah.
it's awful. But
Mhm.
creating a palette that allows you to be open to trying things, and creating a situation where you are eating at every meal a balance of things.
Yeah.
And we grew up in a house where our mom, at the time, they did the best they could with what they knew nutritionally. It wasn't always perfect, but I will say our mom was very, very consistent with making sure we had a protein, we had a vegetable every night, and we would have usually like a rice or a noodle or something like that. Even down to when she'd make spaghetti, she would chop up peppers and mushrooms and put it into the spaghetti to
Mhm.
give us
We
a
ain't had no raw
vegetable.
spaghetti.
We did not have raw spaghetti. She wasn't playing with that. And we always had a meat sauce. So
Yeah.
I just feel like that, as especially when you have children that are growing, and then as adults, to sustain our health, our body needs everything that we take into it. We need to
Yeah.
drink water. We need to make sure that we are eating green vegetables, dark green, the mid-level greens, then the lighter greens. We need to
Mhm.
eat carrots. We need to eat corn, those kind of things like that. But don't say that, oh, the only vegetable I like is corn. Corn is not going to give you everything you need. Your
I
face was
know people like
priceless.
that too.
Yeah, you can't. You have to be open to that. And I say that because there are certain things that I don't like. I make myself keep coming back.
Yeah.
Example, I have always not liked radishes. Recently, I have had radishes sliced up on a salad, and I'm like, this is a tasty radish. It was very good. So I just think you got to keep reintroducing things to yourself and then
Yeah.
making sure that you are keeping your plate diverse. That is
Yeah.
what nutrition and health looks like on a plate.
Yeah. I think when you said radishes, girl, I've been snacking on radishes for about I just got done with my radishes. They was in the fridge.
Mm,
Snack it like on my radishes. You're like
yeah, they're
they're
delicious.
very good
They're very
for
tasty.
balancing blood sugars. They're very good for
Ooh,
digestion and
they're
your
also
gut
very
health.
nummy.
Yeah, so very nummy.
Very nummy.
I have to say I gotta work on me though. I have a thing with picky adults.
Mm,
I have to work through this because sometimes like picky eating kind of grates on me. It kind of bothers me a lot. And some people I've let them like, cause I know some people who are picky, but they will try. You know what I'm
right,
saying? Or
right,
picky, but they actually do eat vegetables. But
right.
there's some people who are picky, like literally, like they gotta spit it out and like, and honestly, I think too, I shout out to our parents. Like you said, they did good in a lot of ways. One thing that our dad said, do you remember what our dad used to say about green vegetables?
I don't. You know my girl's terrible. She probably wait, let me think about it.
The remembering saying, remembering. I remember.
No, go ahead and tell me.
Dad said to mom when we were growing up that we needed a green vegetable every single night. Every
Yes.
single night we had to have a
Dad
green
said, "Don't
vegetable.
serve me
So,
stuff without a green vegetable."
no, he said his kids too, because he was like, my kids
Yeah.
need to eat a green vegetable every night.
Mhm.
So I think that's one thing too. And we grew up in a family that was open to trying all types of things. So I
Yeah.
think in one way I'm almost snooty in a way where I'm like, how dare you be picky? We don't do that at all. Cause I'm like, try it. Like, and then
Yeah.
another thing, and it's none of my business. People who eat the same thing every day. Oh my gosh.
Wait a minute. How do you
I
do that?
can't. Have you not seen people? You got to pay attention to folks.
I don't
People
do
who
that.
have the same meal every day. Oh, I'm going to go to McDonald's. I'm going to go over here.
No.
I'm going to go to this and
No.
get fries and get just the same meal.
Can't.
And
I
it
can't.
grates on me. I'm like, it's none of my business. It's not my lunch. You know what I'm saying? It's none of your business, Kasha. Let it be. But yeah, and I need to work through that because there's a little just it grates on me somewhere. But I think that especially as we get older, nutrition is important and we need to stop eating with what tastes so yummy because a lot of these
Yes.
things that we're eating is like they have tricks in them that make us
Mhm.
feel like they're so tasty and they're not
Right.
really diverse and they don't really have a lot of flavors in them. They just literally are salt and sugar.
Right.
And so I think that that's one thing that I just feel like I can't get used to eating like those non-nutritious food. I have a taste and I have like always have a taste, even no matter how heavy I get for veggies. I'm like, there's sometimes where I'm like, oh, I'm in need of a veggie. But going back to diets, I think that some of us need certain things, and I think that's
Mhm.
something like where I'm not sure if we're getting what we need. And I'm gonna go get into this later, but getting with what we need medically to find out what our body needs.
Yeah.
What is our body susceptible to being deficient in? What do we need to intake a lot more of just consistently, just because who we are and our makeup. But I do think there's some people who do need meat. They need red meat or they need those things a lot more. I feel like, and I've noticed with my body, I don't think I really need a lot of meat in my life. I feel like I feel better when I have high veggies in me, like veggies and fruits, on 10. I think that if we did have that knowledge and that understanding of what our body actually needs, we would eat in a better way. Also, sometimes we're deficient in things and we crave actually the wrong thing. But if we knew what it was, maybe we'd make, you knew better, you do better. I also
Mhm.
have a thing where there was a kick in the 90s. Do you remember when everybody used to do it was like low fat everything low fat, low fat.
Yep.
And it's interesting because it wasn't necessarily something that would help us lose weight.
Nope.
And it was a lot of body tricks, a lot of fake stuff, a lot of super processed crazy things in it that
Mhm.
made people feel like, oh, I'm making a great choice by eating this low fat thing, which people still kind of do those things. Um, but it's not necessarily healthy. And some fats we actually need. Like, you know what I mean? You
Right.
really do need avocado and salmon and have those healthy fats in you. But for some reason, it was all those low fat, like marketed like that.
Right.
And it gets in our head. We think that that's the right thing to do and that's the right choice. So another angle I want to go with this. Who is responsible for our health?
Only you can be responsible for your own health
Hmm.
because a lot of people attribute their health to their doctors. But
Mm-hmm.
I always say, remember, what do they say in the medical field? We are
What?
practicing.
Yeah.
It's never perfected. We are practicing. And if you're not your own advocate for your health, your doctor's just going to practice on you. You know what
Mm-hmm.
your body feels like when it feels good. You also know what your
Mm-hmm.
body feels like when it feels bad. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but you have to be an advocate when you're talking to your doctor, and you have to be an advocate in your everyday life with yourself to make sure that you are doing and making the right choices, that you are allotting yourself the time to be able to take care of your body, exercise, eat right, make sure your meals are put together appropriately. I think it is on you to take care of those kinds of things. When it comes, obviously, if you have children, they don't have that same responsibility. Kids don't have that same responsibility for themselves. But I feel like
Mm-hmm.
as the adult who should be able, and there's enough availability out there to educate yourself on making healthy choices, it's
Mm-hmm.
on you in order to be responsible for how you feel. And to me, that's what translates to health. Because if I don't feel great, not because I'm sick, but if I don't feel great on an average because I'm not doing what's necessary for my body, that falls on me.
Mm. I actually, in the beginning of this,
Right?
was thinking similar. I was thinking like you're the only one who could be responsible for your health. Um, but as I'm like looking into things, there's a certain responsibility that I think that our society has to us. I feel like there are things that are on the shelves in the stores, I'm gonna put it like this,
Hmm.
that are not they're not ethical. I'm just gonna go out and
You're
say it
right.
like that. They're not ethical. They
Yeah.
shouldn't be on the shelves. I think that you're kind of preying on people, especially when it comes to pricing and things like that. I'm gonna get into that later
For
too.
sure.
But I think that yes, initially, like when you're looking and you're saying, yeah, I can take control of this now. But I think that there should be some responsibility in our society, in our government, in how we handle things, in regulating things,
Right.
that there should be healthy things, like an abundance of healthy things on the shelves. What bothers me is that there is not an abundance of healthy things on the shelves,
Right.
affordable healthy things on the shelves. And
That's fair.
sometimes when people have to make decisions on what they're going to feed themselves and their family, they
Yeah.
have to make the unhealthiest decision, and probably against their will a lot of times. So I think
Right.
that's one angle of it. I think also our family is responsible in a way. It's one thing to have those people around you who would encourage you and tell you, "Hey, this is what we should do," or "This is nutrition." But also as a parent, I think we are responsible for our children
Hmm.
developing good healthy eating habits. Now, sometimes yeah, I can say that. Yes, sometimes our children do develop, like they're gonna like sweet things,
Of course they
like
are.
they're gonna do that. we have to be the ones to continuously offer the best option to them if we have that ability, the
Right.
best option to them. I think that sometimes people are like, oh, it's fine, they're kids. But that's literally their ground. That's their foundation. Like, how are they going to learn to eat healthier foods? It's going to be
Right.
like such a shock to them. It's going to be such a change for them when they become an adult and have to be responsible for their own health for sure.
Right.
It's going to be such a blow to them when they've never learned that habit. So I think that there's a responsibility on all angles. Ultimately, yes, it's the individual, but there's some things that should be, I feel like, different. I think that our medical professionals have a responsibility to us. I'm not always sure in the medical profession if they're always thinking about the individual's health. You know, sometimes I think they're just passing along a medicine that works for most people, or passing along the medicine of the salesperson gave them the best pitch. And I really have something against going to the doctor and not really spending a lot of time on nutrition. It's like
Yeah.
they tell you, oh, you need to lose weight, or you need to do this, and the other, but they have no groundwork. I feel like, personally, I feel like in my perfect world, every doctor's office should have a nutritionist that can work with their patients and help them through
One.
this. Because, you got to
Absolutely.
think about, especially people who didn't grow up with nutrition being at the forefront because of finances, because of their culture, because of what they've been presented as a child. They might need somebody to say, hey, there's also this type of fruit. There's this type of meat that would be good for you. This type, this is what you should stay away from, and here's the alternative. Because that's what we're left to. We're busy as it is already living our lives, and then we're left to figure out, like, so if I really like croissants, what's the alternative that I can eat?
Right.
And so I think it would be the best situation to have somebody there that can guide them through that. And I think we would have a healthier society, which I'm going to get into later as well. Um, so,
Wait, before we move
hmm,
on from that,
yeah.
I just want to say, I agree with you about the doctor situation. I think even going a step further, because they are finding out and scientists are seeing that everybody is a unique individual. We know that based
Mm-hmm.
on our DNA.
Mm-hmm.
And based on your DNA, certain things go into your body and benefit you differently. I think that
Mm-hmm.
we should be, from the time our children are born, we should be looking at their DNA and finding out what does that child need in order to have
Mm-hmm.
the best building blocks as that child grows. And that should be a constant evaluation.
Mm-hmm.
They are finding that some people can't process dairy. They can eat it. They're not lactose intolerant, but it doesn't help their body on the insides. Their body shows
Mm,
inflammation when they eat it or things like that. So I think a
that's
nutritionist should
interesting.
come, especially with this, how much as we pay for medical care in this country,
Mm-hmm.
a nutritionist should come, but also we could go that step further and do those kinds of
Mm-hmm.
tests for
Mm-hmm.
people to figure it out and not leave that on people to say, well, if you want to know that information, it's on you to go pay for it out of pocket and it's
Mm-hmm.
exorbitantly expensive. The other thing I will say, when you were saying about we are responsible for our children, we definitely are. Um, I will say the positive though, for those people who, for instance, like us, I feel like we introduced all kinds of food to our children when they were very young. And then there came a point where they started eating things that we didn't necessarily like. Um,
Mm-hmm.
things we knew they would like candies and cookies and
Yeah.
things of that nature and gummy bears. Um, but I will say, even with that being said, our children still eat relatively adventurous. They will try
Yeah.
things. They
Yeah.
will, um, they are not chicken nugget and macaroni and cheese eaters. They will eat
Yeah.
chicken nuggets and macaroni and cheese, but they don't mind also eating salmon and broccoli or salmon and asparagus with sun-dried tomatoes. It's, I think that we don't lose them is what I'm getting at. We don't lose them. If
Yeah.
you introduce food to them and you make them open to, like I said, having a diverse palate, they're gonna like french fries. They're gonna like ice cream. Of course they are.
Mm-hmm.
They're also gonna like eating these other things that aren't nutritious. They're gonna wanna eat those things as well.
Yeah.
Last thing I wanted to say, when you were saying about the government having some responsibility for making things available and not just junk food, I fully agree with you that I think it's outrageous with the things that are permitted to grace the shelves of our grocery stores and for people to be able to eat them. If you can, I'm sorry, y'all can come for me. If you can dump powdered cheese and add water to it and turn that into macaroni and cheese, you're not doing good for yourself. You're not. Sorry, sorry. You're not doing good for yourself. It's just not. It's not a good look. Um, but on the flip side of that, I will say, and the financial part, I am 100% on board because you outprice people from being able to eat healthy. You make
Yeah.
things that are healthy exclusive, and that is absolutely ridiculous because you go to other
Mhm.
countries and they don't do that. They
Yeah.
don't. I will
No.
say though, for those who can afford better, there are many that can afford better and choose not to be better. And I
That's
say
true.
in that instance, like, you can't blame the government then for what the fallout is for you because
Mhm.
cigarettes are on the shelves and it's diabolical that they're on the shelves, but you don't have to buy them.
Mhm. You
You know
don't
what I'm
have
saying?
to.
You don't have to
Mhm.
buy them. So I just wanted to, on those 3 points, I thought they were very well put. I just wanted to kind of put a little my input on those. I seasoned it. Thank you. Stop it.
We real
Talking to
mad about
y'all.
them naked chickens. I wanted to add too is that healthy eating, especially like I was talking about picky people sometimes. I feel like sometimes people are like, I don't like this thing. I don't like this thing. And I feel like sometimes you need to play with the food and figure out what you would like the way that it's prepared. You have to see what seasoning it would be, or does it need to be, in a soup or in braised or something that would make it good to you. You need to
Mhm.
figure that out, especially if it's healthy and it's good for your body.
And if you're not sure what that looks like too, you know what I have learned so much from is watching cooking shows. Watching
Yeah.
shows where people who are cooking at an elite level, I don't have a Michelin rated kitchen, but listening to them talk about how flavors play together, pair together,
Yeah.
I have learned
Yeah.
so much more. And then
Yeah.
when I'm in my kitchen, I will try certain things and be like, oh yeah, that does balance that out. Or
Mhm.
so if you're not sure, educate yourself that way. And that's free. You ain't got to
Yeah.
do nothing but sit on your couch. Let
Mhm.
me turn on Chopped.
Right.
Food
I
Network, we
know,
looking for that. Food Network, we looking for that sponsorship. Just
I
saying.
know, right? Wait, that's what I'm talking
Where
about.
y'all at?
Where you at? Um, so I want to get into like we talked about like our own where we live and just our own country and saying like there's a responsibility there. So I wanted to get into some health around the world. And with that, I want to get into blue zones. You don't know what a blue zone is?
I just
I thought your rememberings would have that in there.
no, she
Um,
don't.
so a blue zone is an area in the world where the longest living populations happen to be.
Oh,
So, do you know want to know where they are?
I'm gonna guess.
You want to guess?
I do. I'm going to guess in the Asian countries.
Mhm.
Do I need to name one specifically?
Yeah.
Japan.
Yes. it's it's a specific place in Japan too.
Oh, I
So
don't
these
know if I
blue
know.
zones are not just the entire country. It's
Okay.
specific places.
I don't think it's in their major cities because
Mhm.
I feel like their major cities have other influences.
Mhm.
Um, I'll be honest, I don't know like many city names outside of the major ones though. So I don't know if I'd know it.
Okay. So you ready to hear 'em?
I'm ready.
All right. So the first one is Okinawa, Japan.
Really?
Yes.
And I expected them to have the most influence because there's a lot
Yeah.
of like we have even the military has a base there.
Mhm.
There's a lot of influence from
Yeah.
outside. So
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. So you were like, oh, not one of the major ones. I'm like, maybe so. So Okinawa,
Maybe.
Japan, Sardinia Italy. Forgive me if I get some of these wrong pronouncing them. Sardinia, Italy.
Okay.
Nicoya Peninsula, Costa Rica.
Oh,
I believe this is Ikaria, Greece. And I was surprised to see this one, Loma Linda, California, USA.
really?
We made it, girl. We was on the list. USA.
Uh-oh.
USA. Oh.
I wonder what's going on in California. In Loma
So,
Linda, California, because there's some
in
crazy
Loma
parts of
Linda, okay, not everywhere,
because
just
there's
like
some
Japan.
crazy parts of California.
Right.
Got it.
Yeah, not everywhere. So these blue zones are, like I said, the places where the longest living populations happen to be in, like, a lot of people are living long in those spots. So do you want to guess on some of the characteristics of those places?
I feel like they're active. Like even the
Mm-hmm.
older people probably walk and move a
Mm-hmm.
lot. So
Yeah.
mobility is very high. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like high vegetable diets.
Mm-hmm.
And I would feel like more communal living, like families staying around each other to help. I think that would help like the mental health component of it.
Mm-hmm.
Those would be the three things I would think.
So that I'm going to read off on the list of what is the characteristics of these blue zone places. Strong social ties. So that's one. Stress reduction, community, prayer and meditation,
I love it.
prioritizing family, regular light movement.
Mm,
So I was like looking at that and I was thinking, just like when I was talking about the walking earlier, like just that's just enough, you know?
yeah.
So what I found interesting is a lot of these was, which they do get into more, nutrition and physical health and things like that. But a lot of these things that were on the list were less to do with pumping iron at the gym and
Yeah.
like eating only veggies and all this stuff. It had a lot to do with the social aspect, the mental health
The
aspect.
mental health.
So
Yeah.
having that was like the first things on the list, was having those strong social ties and the stress reduction.
Yeah.
That's another thing I wanted to get into, is the fact that sometimes we're not recognizing that stress is such a factor
Yeah.
in our bodies being unhealthy. And I know that from personal experience. I know other people who are dealing with stress in all these kinds of ways, and it starts to physically manifest. And so that's the other thing. Like I said, I'm railing against it this year, like railing against this type of stress normalcy. I don't want that normal stress to be present in me anymore.
No.
So I feel like too strong social ties, I think that has less to do with us uh liking somebody's picture on IG, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And more to do with having those connecting times. So looking at some of the things that I was reading, a lot of them get together, they gather through the week too. Not necessarily where it's like, oh, I gotta catch up with you on Saturday or the weekend. Da, da, da. It's literally like, hey, you can come over to my house and have dinner on a Wednesday. You can do these things, and whatever, we could gather throughout the week. We'll have dinner at this random place. So I think that's sometimes one of those components that, like, all these, the rest of the world is missing, having just these busy moments and just prioritizing that over having those connecting moments, which I am very passionate about. I always say I'm a lover of people, but I'm a lover of the people who are close to me most. You know what I'm saying? My
Right.
family and friends are everything. And so thinking about the fact that how maybe like and I do care about this, but maybe I can set aside just this oh my gosh, everything's going on, and maybe I can pull away for a Tuesday, or pull
Yeah.
away on, and have a nice weekend with my sister or something like that. I think that those things that we need to prioritize, that was like first on the
Yeah.
list, is having these social ties.
It's
I talked about
crazy.
stress reduction, community, and I feel like the sense of community is not always just the friends and family. Sometimes it's like being a part of where I live and being proud of where I live, showing up to festivals going on around, the farmers markets, things like that. It's like, would you agree?
Girl, I'm on board when it talks to community because when
Yeah.
when I moved in the community I live in, it is a very non-traditional community, so it's really hard for people
Mhm.
to meet each other. And
Yeah.
we lived here for a year, and I realized I didn't know a single neighbor. And
Yeah.
kudos to my husband, who is not the extrovert in this relationship. Um,
No.
he was the one who said, "Why don't we do event with our community?" And he said, like a sip and stroll. And he thought of this because one night we were just strolling around our neighborhood, and he's like, if you put out flyers and maybe everybody just goes walking at the same time, you get to
Yeah.
meet everybody. And that started out our social. Now it's called we have our neighborhood name, Circle of Friends.
Mhm.
And everyone looks forward to in
Yeah.
January. We get together, we plan the year's events because it's grown from having that stroll to now we do a Cinco de Mayo event. We
Yeah.
do a food and beverage festival for our neighborhood.
Yeah.
We do a Halloween event, which is amazing. We do a cookie exchange. And I feel like when we are at these events that I can almost feel people's shoulders just go
Yeah.
because we're getting to know each other. And there's always somebody new will join into the group and people will rotate talking to that person and finding out where they live, what's their life like, do they have kids, and it's
Yeah.
just so, I find it so, it creates such a relaxing environment at all of these
Yeah.
events.
Yeah.
And the way we have them is that somebody different might host the event every year,
Mm.
and they're all so different. So the food and beverage festival, everybody picks a country and cooks food from whatever country they picked. And I'm
Yeah.
telling you, we've had such interesting food at that event.
Yeah.
We have we do a Halloween/fall festival. So we'll do
Yep.
our trick or treat, which is very unconventional. And then when we finish it, we will go to someone's house and gather, and we have some kind of cook off. So for the
Yeah.
last couple of years, it's been a chili cook-off. This year coming up, it's gonna be, a wing cook-off to see who can make. Yes, baby. Yes. Some wings. Everybody's gonna cook their wings, and it's all good fun. We have people vote, and we declare a winner every year.
That is
At our cookie
cool.
exchange, we have a golf cart parade, and we declare a winner, and there's a
I didn't
nutcracker
realize that.
that gets passed around to whoever the winner is, and they get to keep it for a year.
Yeah. That is
It's
so
just
funny.
and I feel like it is so like, I literally, like I said, see people's shoulders just drop
Yeah.
because they're getting, again, like the old days, like they're getting to know who they live around. And it's so funny because now, because I kind of started setting these things up, people, anytime something's going on, they're like, hey, do you know what's happening with this person? Is this person okay? Is it? And so we've created a network to connect each other. And it's just, to me, community is huge. And I will say, I am involved in obviously my neighbor event. Like I said, I'm also involved in my son's school and I'm
Yep.
involved in my son's little league. And the reason that was so important to me is because I wanted my son to always feel connection within his community because I
Yeah.
think our children nowadays do not feel connected to a lot of things. And as a
Mhm.
result, they are struggling
Mhm.
without connecting. I always used to I give the example, if you were on a boat and you were parasailing and you see somebody demonstrate it, the boat takes off, the parasail goes up, you're flying over, it's awesome. But if that boat took off and you realize that as you started to lift off that the rope wasn't tied off to the boat, what happens? You just float
Oh,
away and you're lost.
yeah.
And that is what's happening to our kids nowadays. The boat has
Yeah.
taken off and our children are floating and we're hoping they land safely. And to
Yeah.
me, my child means enough to me that I didn't want to hope he landed safely. And in reality, I'm not going to be here forever. So I need him to
Yeah.
be connected to me, but also
Yeah.
other people in the world. I need him to be
Yeah.
connected to his cousins. I need him to be connected to his aunts, his uncles. I need him to be connected where he lived and grew up with and the friends that he's going to create as a little child all the way up. And so
Yeah.
community to me just is very paramount when you're talking about health.
Yeah.
So
I think that that is something too when you build like and I will say like we talked about this before about on TikTok, people create their own communities, and some people have connection where they wouldn't have it. And I think that is special, and especially for people who don't have the other option. But
Yeah.
I do say, like, there is nothing like being able to have that real connection with people.
Right?
I talk to my friends every day on apps. Like, you know what I'm saying? We're always talking on an app
Yes.
somehow. But nothing beats when I could actually sit down and we actually go out to eat, or we actually go walking, we actually do these things. I feel a total different sense, you know?
Right.
And it's something else that opens up in me. And so I think that, yeah, I can totally see how that affects your health. I could totally see how it actually connects, because it's real life, it's real time, and I think that it's such a cool thing. I'm unofficially a part of your neighborhood, though, you know, so um
True,
I do frequent some of them events.
because they are
And I think
good,
that's
y'all.
awesome. Yeah. And you know, another thing about community that I think is really one of my favorite things, and I don't know if I see, you could correct me if you see it a little bit more, maybe where you live, you're a little bit more rural than I am. I love the aspect of people at different places in life, people at different ages in life, people in different worlds, in a sense, connecting. Because I feel
Yes.
like there's people who, like, on paper, social, economic, in that way, you could say, these people shouldn't know each other. But having a sense of community can connect those things and connect people who wouldn't otherwise frequent the same places. Now, I get you. Like, you could be in a neighborhood where you're like, I'm in an affluent neighborhood. Everybody's affluent. I
Right.
don't know anybody who's poor. But I think, like,
We don't know
but I
any poor
think
people, and we don't talk to them.
yeah, we don't talk to the pores. But I think it's super cool when you can have those connection of people and you go beyond, like, what do you do? And, like, who are you? Do I need to respect you? Because, you know, I think
Right.
when you could go beyond that, I think that is a sense of community that really, it helps people
think
be connected.
I think I agree with you fully on that, and I think it goes even further to talk about we in past years, you would have generations of people together
Hmm.
because your
Hmm.
families would have generations. But now we're very commonly moving away from our families. So the
Yeah.
generations just aren't there.
Yeah.
I think it is very interesting that when you move in a community that is socioeconomically diverse, I think it's also very cool to have people who you have the people who are having kids right now, and you have the people who are much older that are still living in the neighborhood. You have
Hmm.
the in between people, because I look at, like, we have in my neighborhood kind of a spread. We have people who have young children, and then we have a lot of very much older people. And I
Hmm.
really think it's adorable because when the older people get together with the little kids that are being reared up now, I feel like
Yeah.
it makes them, again, they're like their faces change
Yeah.
because they feel they can see things that, or remember things. And to
Yeah.
me, the kids are then learning from these older people. I know for like our family, we have still one of our grandparents. So our children get to interact with their great grandmother.
I love
And
that.
I love that because they are listening and learning about things that they probably wouldn't get because she's so generationally different.
Yeah.
There's a lady in my neighborhood. I love her. She cracks me up because usually, like once a month, she'll call me and she has a list of things that she needs me to fix on her cell phone because she does not know how to fix them. And
That's
so
adorable.
it's so adorable. And she will call me once her list is big enough. I go to her house, we sit, we chat. She always has, because she's an older lady. Anytime I come, she has a plate of crackers or cheese or fruit or something out for me to indulge in while I'm sitting there. We talk, we laugh, and then I say, all right, what do you need me to do? It usually takes me maybe 5 minutes to fix whatever's on her phone. And
Yeah.
we go on about our business. But to me, the time I get to spend with her before doing it is really, really cool because she is so different and we laugh so much. And I think had we not created those community events, she would
Yeah.
never have felt comfortable with calling me with her phone list every month or so.
I think that's so adorable. I love that. I didn't even know
It's the
that. You know?
best.
And you know what I love too is we talk about generations before, and there's some things that are just normal for like the older generation, and having like a little snack, or like one of my best friends talks about just like the old viewpoint of like, keep your house so neat in case somebody stops by for water, and it's like nowadays a bitch will text you before they be like, girl, is you in town? Girl, I'm gonna come to your house. But back in the day, people just used to show up, which
Yeah.
this is something interesting. And I talked about this with a friend. When I was growing up, when you were growing up too, our house was like a hub house. Like we never moved really. Like we never
No,
moved until like we grown. And
grown-ups.
there people would come to our door who hadn't seen our parents in like 5 years and be like, I just want to see if you still lived here. And I loved that. I
Yeah.
loved having that, the fact that our parents had friends that would just drop in and see them.
Yes.
I used to love to eavesdrop on their conversations and just like, oh, what's that? What are they about? And I think that that's, like I said, and maybe that's started me being a lover of people, because
Yeah.
our parents, especially our dad,
Yeah.
mom was along for the ride, because she
Yes.
was not the one to be like, oh, let me run out and just join and get friends. Like her friends
Dad
had to
was
hawk her down. Dad is the friendliest dude. He's never met a stranger.
friendly.
None.
Never.
And I think that I definitely got that from him. And I love the fact that him having that energy made people just show up sometimes. And I know
Yeah.
some people like are huge no-nos on like the big showing up on, and I don't care who shows up really. Like if I know you, you're close to me, you're in my life, like, or if I hadn't seen you in a long time, like, girl, how's it been? I
Yeah.
love to chat it up with people. And so the older generations having that, like, stopping by for water, or like, hey, like somebody's coming over, let me give them a refreshment. They can't just be here hungry. I think that's adorable. And one thing about me, and I've noticed this about myself, is that I am able to, like, I have people that I work with that are very young, and I got people that I work with who are near retirement, and
Right.
I can vibe with both of them. Like, you know what I'm saying? I can sit down and be like, girl, what is up? You know what I'm saying? And I love, like, there's one coworker I have that she teaches me about all the stuff. I'd just be like, what? I don't know what that is. You know what I'm saying? She'd be like, this anime was like this and like this. And she'll explain it. I love how she gets into it too. She like, this anime, see, you got to start from the beginning. I be like, what? Well, I ain't finna watch that. So tell me about it. Tell me about that anime.
But I laughed because we had this conversation. I was like, K-pop Demon Hunter, is that
Oh
all?
yeah, girl.
Is that like one group or what? What we
We be
talking about?
laughing at you. And we be laughing at you. I'd be like, because there's some things I don't know. But I was like, you know what my sister said, girl? My sisters thought K-pop Demon Hunter was all K-pop. And she was like, oh,
I did.
she was highly offended because she's a huge
Was she
K-pop
mad?
fan, honey. Big man.
Oh,
Big man, you in big
sorry.
trouble.
Sorry.
But yeah, like I learned about that kind of stuff, like K-pop and things like that. But I can talk to someone who's older and they can tell me about, like, yeah, back in the day, this used to be all orange groves, girl.
Love it.
I'll listen to it.
Love it.
I love how everybody has their story and just connecting that way. And so hopefully that's overriding the stress and anxiety that I have in my life, that I have a sense of connection. I constantly live in a state of what's gonna happen.
What's gonna happen?
And I'm railing against that. We talked about that. So they also said about prayer, meditation. And so I think it's interesting because regardless of what we believe, and I personally believe that everybody has their own connection as long as it's not doing evil and harmful things to others. But prayer and meditation, I do think that it definitely has its place. I think whatever we believe, I think we could have those connections, and even if we look at it in a sense that it's not going anywhere, if it's just auto suggestion, but having that, and the fact that these blue zones have that strong sense of having prayer, meditation, those type of connections, maybe there's something to it. You know what I'm saying?
I think that anytime you can think of get out of your own head and
Mm,
believing in a higher power, that there's something bigger than you,
mm-hmm.
that is very grounding and very comforting at the same time. And I
Yeah,
think that's what prayer and meditation introduces into the equation. You
yeah,
recognize that you are a small part of this world that has been created because you are praying to this higher power that is watching over and seeing what
Mhm.
it is that's going on. And so it
Yeah.
absolves you of carrying the weight of every decision that is right, wrong, or indifferent and things
Mhm.
of that nature. Not that you run around in life like, oh, nothing's meant, I got nothing in my head. But I think that when you
That's what I used to think you was like. I was like, "Monique, do you be
no,
thinking?"
I do, just not as much as you, Jesus. Um, but when you think that you look at it like what I do, I'm going to make decisions based on the fact that there is a higher power that
Mhm.
I will be accountable to, but I'm also going to recognize that I'm not in control of everything that's going on. And so if
Mhm.
things go right, wrong, or indifferent, it's not on my shoulders. I don't have to figure out a way to fix everything. Sometimes I'm going to pray and give it to God and leave it
Mhm.
on his doorstep and be like, that is your problem. I am done. Good day, sir. All done. That one's yours. I think there is something to be said that comes along with that, with relieving stress. That goes back to the other thing we were talking about, because I feel like stress is a huge killer. And it's because part of that is that we feel like that we are all powerful and almighty as
Mm.
human beings to fix everything. Get out your own head. Stop playing.
Right.
Go ahead and give it to God, because won't he do it? Won't he do it?
Won't he do it? I feel like in that aspect, and like I'm a little bit, more fluid in this, I guess, in the way I believe spiritually. I think that what definitely helps me be most at peace is when I realize that there is a greater good. And I look at that in the sense of like how can I be in servitude to our society and to who we are, to the world, to the plants, to nature, to anything? How can I lend myself to make to do something towards the greater good? And I feel like it literally pulls me out of my head when I think about myself as not being this super important of like, oh, everything happens to me all the time. Things are coming everywhere. When I
For
look
sure.
at it and say, everybody's out here living. There's ants outside of my door that's outside living. They got breadcrumbs to bring back to the ant hill. And they got stressed out too. You know what I'm saying?
It's freaking, it is
God
so heavy.
dang, it is heavy.
It's so
You see
heavy.
how big them ants be
Can you
picking up
help me carry
stuff?
this breadcrumb and stop acting like that?
Exactly. Big old humans walking by. You could bring that breadcrumb over there. But
You see me trying to tote this breadcrumb.
see
Why
it.
don't you help me?
But when I look at it, and that's my personal spiritual view, is when I look and see how can I contribute to the greater good, it really pulls me out of my head and stops making my problem so big. And how can I be a help to someone else, to the animals, even, to
Yeah.
nature? How can I be assisting in that? I think that that makes me most at peace. And I think that's important when you start thinking about this life is bigger than you. Like, you're important, but you're
hmm
not important. You know what I'm saying?
Like I always tell my son,
So,
you're special, but you ain't special.
right. You ain't special, but you special. You
Mm.
special to me, but
You
you ain't,
special to
you know what I'm
me.
saying? Everybody out here doing stuff.
Everybody.
So yeah, so wrapping this all up with the blue zones, they did, also bring up, and we got kind of caught up into the social aspect. They talked about regular light movement. So
hmm
just again, that consistency, caring about your body enough to do something. You
Yeah.
don't have to be pumping iron all day. You don't have to run 46 miles a day, but you got to do something to care for your
Mm.
body. Um, the other
Consistency
thing
beats
is a lot, huh?
consistency beats intensity every time.
Okay.
Every time.
Climatic. The other thing is a lot of the blue zones, they were plant-based and they did have light fish and occasional meat.
I said
So,
that. I said
you know what I'm
that.
saying? You know what I'm saying? Not just sitting there gorging on all this stuff. Some of us, we be just eating this stuff and different kind of things. The other thing is, and they eat until they're 80% full. A lot of these places where they're not really eating, like where they're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to just eat until I'm stuffed. 80% full is a lot of their diets, the way they eat. Huh?
So when you say 80% full, what are they are because I want that's not a concept that a lot of people can wrap their heads around. So that's why I'm asking this question. Are they eating slower to ensure that once they get to that point, What are they
That's a good
doing to
point.
gauge that 80%?
I am not 100% sure, like,
Because that
what
would be
the
interesting. Because I
yeah,
think
I'm not
part of
how
it is here in America, we eat, and I would say a lot of countries, we might eat too fast,
yeah.
and our stomach is full before our brain can tell us, "Hey, you
Mhm.
good? Stop playing."
Yeah.
You know? So I'd like to know, how are they facilitating that part of it to make sure that they're hitting that 80% mark? Are they putting less on their plates for that
Mm.
initial, that, because I think that's something that could do that. You put less on your plate. You're eating it at a little bit of a slower pace, and
Mhm.
maybe once you finish that first plate, you go, "I think I'm full enough."
Yeah.
I think that could
I
all
think
be
that
a
that's
way,
the
but
thing, like, maybe with something I noticed with myself that I will be eating while I'm sitting down, and I'm like, "Oh, I could just eat everything on this table right now. I could tear this thing down." And then I will stand up and be like, "I think I'm done."
oh,
Like, so sometimes, like, you have to know your body. Like, I've figured out that before where I'm like, "Oh, I'm eating," and then I'll stand up and feel really disgusting full all of a sudden. So,
oh,
not being eating till you're disgusting full,
it's
um,
important.
eating a healthy diet, a reasonably healthy
Healthy
diet.
food.
Something that I felt like was my observation from looking at the map on the blue zones is that all of them lived by water.
Oh,
This wasn't necessary, like, this wasn't explicitly put on there, but they all lived by water, and so I wondered, I'm like, "Hmm," and I love water, so, you ain't gotta tell me
I
twice,
do.
baby, I'll go look at
I
some
do
water,
enjoy
baby.
water.
But I think that when you think about being close
Hmm.
to the waves or close to even just seeing the way the water trickles down or moves around, it might do something. We have a
Like,
lot
it's
of water in our
relaxing.
body, so we might have a connection. We might be like, "Oh, I like that. That calms my spirit."
I like
But
that.
any thoughts? Because I have a final quote to end off with, but do you have any thoughts?
I find it very interesting that you said the whole water aspect,
Mhm.
because I fully believe that we are affected by the tides and the moons.
Mhm.
I think that God made our bodies so perfect that everything we need to heal and feel good about our bodies and feel healthy is right here on earth. And I think that
Yeah.
the way the if the moon can affect the oceans, which are much bigger than us, of course it affects us. And I feel like maybe putting us in proximity, even smelling sea air can make a difference. I fully believe so.
Mm,
That is super interesting, when you think about those pieces of the puzzle. And
mm.
I would really be interested to study that in a little more depth. I'm not a scientist, but I'm just saying, if I was.
Girl, you sounded a little hippie-ish just then when you were like,
I
"The moon
did.
might affect it." I was like, "Am I rubbing off on you? What is going on?" She was like, "The
You know
moon."
that you have rubbed a little bit of hippie off on me. That is true, and because I don't disagree. We are made to work in unison with this earth that we
Yeah.
live on. That it's
Mhm.
not by accident that the only planet that has people on it is Earth.
Right.
That's not an accident. It's
That
not
we
like he
know
was like
of.
right, that we know of, but it's not like he was like, "Oh, uh, I put some on Uranus and they didn't make it. So we're gonna try." Like, it's not by accident. It was very purposeful. Everything that happens, even like, to me, what really made me realize this, I always thought it, but when I got pregnant with my child, I thought, this is amazing that we can take one tiny cell from two different people and they're going to replicate. And by the time there's a big human in comparison to where he came from walking
Mhm.
around now. So you
Yeah,
think that that could be something that he could do, but then we're not tied to the earth or the moons or nothing that. Come on, people. Come on.
for sure. Sure.
Tighten up.
This is
So,
inspiring me. I feel like I really wanna get more hippie and be walking
oh,
barefoot in
Jesus.
some grass. This is inspiring me. I love this.
Y'all, she went too far now.
Hippie
She
and
went too
close to
far.
the sun again. So, I wanted to end off on this quote, and this is kind of more along the physical activity.
Okay.
Um, this is something I ran across. Actually, I was just looking through my camera roll, and it was something that I took a picture of, um, at the gym or something. It said, "Exercise is not a punishment for what you ate, but a celebration of what your body can do." And that is what I wanna leave off on because I feel like that change in belief that you are like, I'm eating bad and I have to punish myself. No, to look at it and say, what am I capable of? I
Let
think
me
that's
tell you,
yeah, you know what I'm
I
saying?
love that. And I don't want to, I want to tell you why I love that so much because I love to work out. It's always a
I know.
relaxation for
Yeah.
me. But one of the things that I tackled in working out that was really hard for me was I always knew how to swim, but I wasn't very eager or excited about swimming. And so then I decided to sign up for a triathlon. Triathlons require you to swim
Mm,
in open. This one happened to require you to swim in open water. So I had to train for that leading up to it. And it wasn't the fact of the shape that my body got into, it was the shape that my mind got into when I was doing
mm,
it, and it was the fact that I can get my body to do something I never thought I could tackle. So, it
yeah.
was absolutely a celebration of what I could get my body to do, and
Right.
I think that people really do have to really put exercise in that realm because that's where the happiness comes from, I believe.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I think that's a great way to end that off. You brought it all together. Brought it all together. So I want to thank
Sorry, I was
everybody
snapping
for
myself up.
gas yourself up, girl. I want to thank everybody for listening.
Thank you.
I invite you guys to follow us on TikTok at trying the number two, have a convo, and on Instagram, trying to have a convo podcast. And on, if you're not already watching us on YouTube,
What
I'm
are you
trying to have
doing?
yeah, what are you doing? But I'm trying to have a conversation with you podcast. Search that. And yeah, so right now,
Uh, don't forget streettailsnetwork.com will link you to all of our shows that we have because we have some amazing ones.
yes, absolutely. So I'm Kasha, and that's Monique. And this conversation, it's over.
It's over.